Finally, school is almost over and I'm almost done with my grades, just need a few more fixing and I'm done. And summer is getting closer and I finally see this movie. No lightsabers required, and let's get to this review, shall we?
Like we used to do.
Solo, a Star Wars story, is a spin-off to one of the Star Wars franchise, and this movie is not directed by the Lego movie directors, but this time it's directed by Ron Howard. Now in this movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, tells the story of Han Solo in his young times when he was young, and he wants to be the greatest pilot of them all before he is in the Star Wars universe. And now to become the greatest pilot of them all, he must work with a group of bandits to obtain this type of item, and he needs the help with Lando, Chewbacca, and a group of friends that they'll meet, including Kira and also Beckett. And now they must work together to obtain this valuable item and give it to Dryden. Now in this movie, I would say that first of all, getting a spin-off to Solo Star Wars story, that's very amazing. I mean, we're getting a treatment about the Han Solo character, and yes, it's still happening until now. I mean, until the Lego movie directors were fired and replaced with Ron Howard, I'm like, okay, let's get to the cut to the chase. Just get me the movie already. Let's see what the final result would be. And then suddenly, yes, we got the trailers. The trailer finally come out at the wrong time, like at a very late time, at a very limited time. And then there comes the second trailer. And suddenly, when I was about to see this movie, yes, this got me excited. I finally come inside the movie theater, and bam, I don't know what to say about Solo Star Wars story. But however, this girl here, it was her birthday, and I watched it on her birthday, and she gave me the inspiration to see that movie. She saw it at the Cannes Film Festival, and I wish I was there actually. I think I've already mentioned that earlier somewhere. But really, I had a fun time watching Solo Star Wars story. Which did I had a fun time? Did I not have a fun time with this movie? Well, I'll tell you something. First of all, about this movie, it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off to the Star Wars movie. So yes, expecting for characters we never meet, expecting for good things that we'll never see in this movie. And this is a modern Star Wars movie that was made in 2018. Spin-off could happen. I mean, before this takes place, it could have been released like last year. Like, why did the 4th and the 6th episode was released on the 80s, and then suddenly all the prequels were released on the early days? And then you got episode 7 and episode 8. Why not just continue to those episodes? And yeah, it's called a Star Wars movie. I know Disney's making movie and Lucasfilm, they're trying to make money. And of course, it's a modern Star Wars movie. So yeah, even though it's modern, I mean, it's still cinematic and it still feels like a Star Wars movie. And other times, I feel like I had some issues with this movie. I mean, I like the element. There's some great characters that you have in this movie, but sometimes the storyline can be a little bit of a problem. When you're trying to make a prequel, trying to make a spin-off of a character, you want to think of how did this character come to life? You must try to make it balance it. In the beginning of the movie, there's actually a good thing about the movie. I like how the beginning goes, but throughout the middle and the end, it's actually a little bit of a situation. It's a little bit of a problem I had with this movie. For example, like how they interact with other people and how the interactions with them. And it's really not much of a Star Wars movie. Like, it's basically how Han Solo did it. It's like, Han Solo meet this guy and suddenly this happened and that happened and that's it. And then we got to the chase into the 4th and the 6th episode where we're introduced to Han Solo. And that feels like that's really bit of a downwards with the movie. Overall, the character was really okay. The movie was really fine to itself. My only problem was that there were some situations where, I mean, this guy was going to do this and this guy was going to do that. Han Solo, he's still the character in this movie. Keep in mind that he's played by this guy named Alden Ehrenreich. I think that's how I spelled. That's how I spell, I suppose. And he looks a little bit similar. At times, like, maybe he's different. He's not the Han Solo. He's just playing Han Solo and that's it. But he's very different to Harrison Ford. We all know what Harrison Ford looks like on how he acts. But he almost look very similar. He's a little bit cheaper and in terms of acting as Han Solo. But he really stole the show. He really did a great job with this movie. So my situation in this movie is that you get some scenes which were like, okay, this really become downwards with the storyline. I mean, it really fits in with the storyline, but there are many ways they could just deal with these characters. The characters would be a problem. And there are some characters I'm like, okay, this is expecting. I mean, the idol of the fact, there's some characters who are like, don't trust anyone. Anyone could be trustable, which is actually some moral you would learn in this movie. And that's basically the ideal of Han Solo, because Han Solo lived in a time where outlaws become a big problem in the world of Star Wars. And now, seeing this type of thing being a problem with me, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually just a typical Solo movie that's very different. It's kind of different with Star Wars movie, but overall, it's pretty much of an okay movie to me. Now, let's just get to the character, shall we? We have Han Solo, played by Alden Ehrenreich, and I feel like he did a great job playing as Han Solo. I mean, he was enjoyable at the time, and other times it was very different to him, seeing him, and like, at other times one thing, like, does he match with Harrison Ford? Does he not match with Harrison Ford? Is he the Han Solo that we want? And everyone's like, okay, that's a young Han Solo, and he did great in this movie. You also get Chewbacca in this movie, and I like his introduction as Chewbacca, like, how did they meet with Chewbacca? It was a really funny thing, and I thought it was hilarious having Chewbacca. Feels like seeing Chewbacca in this movie is like, it's Chewbacca, just like in the Star Wars movie that you'll see. And and as long as they stick with the original, as long as nothing else changes. And you also got Lando Calrissian. Yes, you got Childish Gambino. This is America, but not with Lando, because this is Star Wars and this is Lando. This is Childish Gambino playing as Lando. And I know I've seen Donald Glover in Spider-Man Homecoming. I've also seen him in The Martian, and I thought seeing his character was really outstanding, and he really stole the show. Like Lando, it was really a fun character. I really like his portrayal as Lando, even though at sometimes it was like very different. There's not much to him as Lando, but he still got a part in this movie, and his character is basically like the best of them all. You also got Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke playing as Kira. I'm like, okay, Emilia Clarke is in this movie. What can I say about her character? Her character is actually lovable. He's a very nice person. But the problem with this character is that how they arrange her character in the end, with her character really keeps me disappointed. I'm like, okay, yes, this is gonna happen with her character, which throughout the middle of it, she's actually fine, and I understand what happened to her character. Of course, when he got separated from the main protagonist, of course, things will be different with that character, especially if it's a woman. You also got Woody Harrelson playing as Beckett, and I thought Beckett was actually a very fun person. I thought he was a very enjoyable person. I thought I liked him throughout the movies, and Woody Harrelson really stand out in this movie. I mean, every time it comes to Woody Harrelson, the way he talks, of course, you're gonna like his character. You're gonna feel like, okay, that character looks awesome, especially with Tobias Beckett playing in this movie, and it's very unimaginable having Woody Harrelson playing as this character in this movie. And also you get Paul Bettany, which is another character that was surprising. He's not the only MCU character in this movie who becomes a Star Wars character, but you also got Rio. Actually, I'm not gonna say his character. I mean, it really, I have a friend with the same name with that. And for Dryden is like, he's really this outlaw. He's really a menacing person who works for the so-called Crimson Tide, I suppose. And there's not much to him. I mean, Dryden is there. He just happens to be there. He just happens to be this very menacing person. And I mean, seeing Paul Bettany portraying that character in this movie, it's very menacing, and the way he acts, it's very, very, very stylistic. It's like I don't know how to say about this. Like, it's really frightening at other times, and at other times he just did a great job portraying that character, I suppose. I have to say this, but Solo: A Star Wars Story is a well-made movie that could have done better on the Star Wars character itself. First of all, the movie is enjoyable. The movie is fine to me. I thought of myself, okay, in the end, I think the movie was fine. I really like some beginning parts of the movie, but throughout the middle and the end, I feel like there's a little bit of an effort that they could have done with the movie. If only they didn't change directors with Ron Howard, things could have been fine. Maybe Ron Howard still gets to be a part of the movie. Maybe Christopher Miller and Phil Lord still gets to direct this movie. But the good thing is that they're just switching place, basically. Ron Howard gets a credit, and Christopher Miller and Phil Lord is basically in the director credit. But this time it's the other way around. The director of the Lego movie still gets a credit in this movie. And however, yeah, that was actually a good thing. But yeah, that was my review on Solo: Star Wars Story. I also see this in IMAX, and I would say it's a galactic experience in IMAX. To be honest, it was disappointing because I saw it in 2D and the screen wasn't that large, but oh well, yeah, I saw it in IMAX because I was a big fan of IMAX. But yeah, that was my review on Solo: Star Wars Story. Have you seen it? What did you think of this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'm gonna have a fun time talking about this movie. And like I said, summer is getting closer and I'm done with all fixing grades. Just need to do a little bit of fixing and then I'm done. And then now I can just do relax on the summer. And I expect that my first thing that I'll do is basically my review on Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And yeah, that was my review on Solo: A Star Wars Story. Here's the outro. That is all for this video. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like. That would be very helpful. And in the description, you'll find two links so you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. I appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.